Gentlemen, we're going to get started here on the third portion of our presidential forums. It is 4 o'clock, and I don't want to take any time from our third finalist who is about to address us. So if you will take your seats here very shortly, we're going to go ahead and get started. First of all, for those of you who may be joining us right now here in the Fine Arts Theater, make sure that you get the attention of one of the mic runners before you ask a question. We have had excellent participation so far. Thank you very much. Keep it moving along just as quickly as you can. Keep your questions as crisp as possible, and we'll get to as many of them as we possibly can. Those of you in the balcony, make some noise because it's a little hard to hear. We have to look right up into the lights. So let us know if you've got a question up there. Be sure that you have your cards ready. If you have not turned in your cards for either of the two previous candidates, please do so now. The ushers will take those, and then make sure that you have one card left for Dr. Bingham. I will be the timekeeper. Once again, I'll stand here and make everybody uncomfortable at about 10 minutes before this session is over, and we'll make sure that we get done on time so that we're fair to every participant here. Once again, thanks to all of you who are joining us at the overflow sites here on campus and by the internet streaming signal. Now it's time to welcome our third and final finalist. He will give a 10-minute opening statement or so and begin taking his own questions. And I would like to introduce Dr. Daniel J. Bingham.
Thank you. Well, it's a real pleasure to be here this afternoon. I've had a wonderful trip today, coming last night and seeing the lights of Twin Falls, and then being able to enjoy the city a little bit this morning, and then to be able to enjoy your campus. Let me just give you a little bit of a background of who I am and where I come from. I started off in higher education on the Hopi Reservation many years ago, and I used to go out on a Tuesday morning, come back Friday night. Lived in Flagstaff, Arizona, and there I had the privilege and opportunity of working with 15 at one time students in a technical education program. And we taught them everything, we being myself, I should say, taught them everything from excavation to the very top of a ridge of a home. We worked on homes that are well over 200 years old, and then we built brand new homes. And so we had an opportunity to work in a program that was very technical based, and so students then could go out and find a job after they're finished. After that, I went to a brand new college in Flagstaff, Arizona, Coconino Community College, and had the privilege there of actually being part of a startup of a brand new college. I was able to write all of the technical curriculum that that college had. Nothing at the point in time, of course. When you're brand new, you've got to start someplace. So we wrote all the curriculum for that college, implemented it, both for apprenticeship style and for all the regular classroom style lab activities, everything that went with that. That was a really good experience. I had the privilege to be able to go from faculty into light administration, and then move over to complete to administration, and then spin off from that point in time, and then go off and do that last little degree that you got to put on that credential if you want to move into administration. And so I went to the University of Texas at Austin and finished a PhD there. I think it was there where I really got to understand what community colleges were really about, because we spent a year visiting colleges around the country and in Canada. So we did a mini assessment visit at each one of these institutions, and we were really able to get in and see how those colleges were really working. We got to see best practices, and then we got to see not so good practices. So we did that for about a year and finished that PhD, and then interned at Salt Lake Community College. I was only supposed to be there for just one semester, and then travel down south of Salt Lake and go to Utah Valley University at the time. It was Utah Valley College, and now it's a university. And but never made it down there. I stayed at Salt Lake Community College for 6 years. They asked if I would stay and run some programs, do some things for the president. and had the privilege to start 2 new campuses for the college, which right now I think they're running about 27,000 students at Salt Lake Community College. When I was there, it was about 23. And when I left, there were 14 campuses. 3 of them I had at the time. And I was able to, of the 3, 2 of them were brand new. One is on the south side of Salt Lake, Larry Miller campus. It's an entrepreneurial campus. And then we started the first virtual campus for Salt Lake Community College. We went from about 2,000 students to 10,000 students in about a year and a half. We shifted the demographic of learning, and online education was an important piece to that. So we started that, and that is still going, and it's called eCampus, and that's been a good experience there. Then I decided I needed to springboard and go another direction, so I headed north. I kept telling my wife that one of these days we're going to end up in Alaska because that's where I would like to live for a period of time, and she says absolutely not. She's not interested in Alaska, although she's Canadian by birth. But so we went to Montana. I think that's about as close as she's going to let me get to Alaska. So I had the opportunity to take everything that I had learned from working at the reservation. I think I missed one piece in there. I also went from the reservation for Hopi into the state penitentiary for 4 years. I did get to go home every night. And my students reminded me of that almost on a daily basis, that they let me go home. And I appreciated that very, very much. So I would drive from Flagstaff, Arizona to Winslow, Arizona. And some of you remember that song, right? Standing on the corner. I stood on that corner, and I'm not so sure it's a fine sight to see, to tell you the truth. There's not a whole lot there to look at. Now when you stand on the corner, you're looking at a state penitentiary. So that's not as good as it used to be, probably. So I went to Montana, and I need to give you a little bit of background and how things work in Montana. They're different, I think, than any other state I've ever been in. And I don't think they're going to change, because I think they like that, being different, and that's okay. In Montana, they have 3 community colleges by state statute. And then they have, I think, 8 tribal colleges. Then they have 6 colleges, universities, and then they have 5 embedded and 2 standalone colleges. So that's 5 different systems in one state. And I'm on a campus that is attached to the University of Montana by name, but we have our own accreditation, so it's a standalone college. The only 2 administrators in the state of Montana that are given a title as president are the presidents of the University of Montana and the presidents of Montana State University. All the rest are either chancellors or they're CEO deans, and that's kind of where it stops right there. So just to kind of give you a little bit of background, the last 9 years, I've been spending my time running a campus just like the president of this campus has done here, except for they give it a different title. I don't have athletics. We do have a small intramural program. And I don't have dormitories. 2 of the things that most presidents say, thank you, I'm glad I don't have. But I miss those because I used to have the experience with the sports at Salt Lake Community College, and I really, really enjoyed that and missed it quite a bit. And so I talked to Joe. I think it was Joe. Is that correct? Joe? Joel? Okay. Thank you. Now I can see there's somebody out there. I talked to him a little bit, and I asked him, where's the soccer program? How does a 2-year college not have a soccer program? And so I gave him a time frame. I said, in a year's time, I want to see a soccer program here at the college. So we'll see what happens there. So I've spent the last 9 years really building a college. In mid-90s, the embedded, what were called VOTECs, were given to higher education and taken away from public ed. And then they had these 5 units dotted around the state. 2 of them were standalone, which is Helena College is one of them. So we've gone now from a high school, and my charge when I got there 9 years ago was we're turning it into a college. And so that's what we've been doing, and that's what we've accomplished. And in 9 years, we've doubled the enrollment. We've increased the general education and transfer over 250%. And we have articulation agreements with most of the institutions in the state so far, including Western Governors, which is out of Utah, or the base is anyway. We have all the technical programs that you can possibly think of that are, I believe, I'm probably biased, probably the best in the state of Montana. And we have the best facilities, I believe, in the state of Montana when it comes to that also. We have a 95% placement rate in all our technical colleges, technical programs, and we have a 100% pass rate in our NCLEX for our nursing, and have for the last 5 years. And so we put a lot of effort and energy. We have tremendous faculty, and we have administration and staff that work double time and overtime. So I've had the privilege for the last 9 years of going from what I thought looked a lot like the state penitentiary in Winslow when I first arrived there. It had gray doors and it had the slits in it, you know, for the little window you can look inside, to a full-fledged college that has 2 campuses, and now we're just under 1,600 enrollments, and that's double from last, actually we did that within 6 years. So those are some of the things that I've been doing. So I've had an experience to do just about everything, from teaching, special programs, teaching in a traditional sense, and then the administration program, opportunities from being a division chair all the way up to being a president of an institution. And I believe I bring to this institution that wealth of knowledge and experience to look at things from a different perspective. Not only that, to be able to spend time working with the community. I think one of the important things that I think is really makes a 2-year college gel, not a 4-year college, just higher education gel, is that that particular institution gets embedded into the community and they become one. And I believe that's what's happened with Helena College. It used to be known as, oh, the college across the street, and if you don't watch out, if you don't do well in high school, you're going to have to go there. Now it's very, very different. It's the first name. We have a private institution in the state, and it's now the college, Helena College, is what comes off the lips of the students and the mouths of parents in town. When I'm out there and I listen to what's going on, I see more Helena College T-shirts now than I see the other brand. I don't want to name them. They're a good college, but we're bigger than they are now. And that happened about 3 years ago. We passed them up. So we're growing. It's an exciting thing. I'm excited about being here because what I see here is what I've been experiencing the last 9 years is a college that's part of a community. And staff and faculty who looked at this as not just a job, but a lifestyle. And I really like that. And I'm excited about the opportunities that might be here for me. So with that, I think it's time for questions.
My name's Jenny Emery Davidson, and I'm the director of the CSI Blaine County Center. So CSI is charged with serving an 8-county area, and part of the way the college has done that is by operating 3 off-campus centers. So one in Haley, one in Gooding, one in Burley.
And you're all sitting together?
And I would be interested in hearing how you would imagine leveraging those off-campus centers and how they would be a part of your overall strategic vision for the college.
Great question. In each of the colleges I've been with, I've had the privilege of having multiple campuses. I've never been on a one-campus college. And the first college I was at, the main campus was a 3.5-hour drive from where I was at. The second college, it was a 2.5-hour drive from the main campus. And so I understand the difficulties of place and separation. And to me, that's an important piece that needs to be brought back, that those centers feel like they're a part of the institution. And I'm not excited about a term like home campus or main campus, because that in itself is a separation of thought in words that says, you're not quite there yet, Gooding, but you may get there one day. And I think what's important is that those campuses, each one of the campuses, are focused on the communities in which they serve. And their needs are different than the mothership. I don't want to use that term, main campus. So my vision is to look at what the needs are. A community college serves a community. That's an important piece never to forget. We're there because the community wants us, needs us, and is looking to us to provide to that community a support network. Train their kids, train those who are out of work, train those who need retraining, provide opportunity for students to come and start their education, spin off and go someplace else. We give lots of people opportunity, and so what is that opportunity that needs to be done within those small campuses? So my plan would be to really focus on what's the need in each one of those, and then meet the need of that community.
Welcome to Idaho, Dr. Bingham.
Thank you.
My name's Dan Olmsted, and I work for Idaho Power Company, but I also serve as the chair of the CSI Foundation Board for at least this year. And along with Deb and Cindy and the staff, we are responsible for a $33 million fund that directly benefits the students of CSI and the programs at CSI. We're charged with protecting that fund as well as growing that fund. Can you cite an example, a specific example, of your experience with a foundation, maybe such as this, and what's your vision of the foundation in the future? And then I have another question to follow up.
Sure. My experience with foundations really go back to Salt Lake Community College. I thought, and I've been in several tier colleges, and I had never experienced a foundation quite like that. You have a $33 million corpus, is that what you're saying? That's pretty close to what Salt Lake Community College had, and we had some of the best brains, I think, in that valley who are on that foundation to monitor that fund so that we can then not spend that corpus but invest it in the scholarshiping of our students. We gave out hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships. We also helped support building certain buildings on campus. We helped support athletics and things like that. That group were the major investors of that corpus. And in the 6 years I was there, I never saw them, even during the times when the economy was not so good, I never saw them lose any money out of that corpus. That was protected. And I appreciated that because money's hard to come by sometimes, especially in a down economy. So what I would hope to do with the foundation here is to continue to build that and then continue to find ways in which we can support our students. I haven't run into a student yet that didn't need some type of kind of help. And so I would hope that that foundation would, number one, focus on those students, and then two, focus on the other needs within the community they serve, including all the way out in Gooding. I would believe that that foundation is for them also, too. So the communities in which we serve. I would look to that group to invest that in a wise manner to bring back that funding that we can use then for those scholarships. And then be actively engaged in the community of fundraising and going after additional funds. That's one of the things I think they do well. They're connected to that community, where the network is. Get into that network and help that to grow. And your follow-up.
Thank you. Second question, and be assured that I've interviewed lots of folks in my career. I like to ask the same question of each candidate in the same order. So you're number 3, and you can't get any help from the audience members at all.
You don't have cards or anything they can hold up?
This question has to do with economic development. I serve on the Southern Idaho Economic Development Organization board, and also my job with Idaho Power Company, that's part of my responsibility. Could you cite a specific example where you've had experience in either new business attraction or retention or expansion in the in the places that you've been?
Sure. Maybe I can answer that very quickly. So you're on the Southern Idaho Economic Development Organization, right?
Board of Directors,
You're the
correct.
Board of Directors? Then I trump you because I'm the president of ours.
You did.
And the last business that I had spent a great deal of time in helping to attract to Helena was this small company called Boeing. I hope that answers your question. I have a lot of interest in economic development. I've spent a lot of time working with each city that I've lived in. I've worked with economic development organizations, and I've been on every one of the boards. And that's one of the things we do as a two-year college we do well, is that economic development and attracting corporations. And I noticed that your agribusiness corporations around here are am I running out of time?
Oh, no, I was just going to let you.
Or are you sneaking up behind me? Okay. Maybe I should go to the other side of the podium here. Well, just to round out, we do that very well. And we have the foundation which to do it. We're quick reactors. When an organization needs something, bam, we're there. We're making it happen. When I landed at Helena College, we didn't have any continuing education programs. So we started that. And today, now, that complete program with 3 FTE, which, again, remember, we're a small community college, 3 FTE is completely self-funded. And they do all the major training for the state of Montana. Nice that we're in the capital city, but up until 3 years ago, we were doing no training for the state of Montana. Now we are doing all the training for the state of Montana. So there's a question someplace up there in the nosebleed section.
Can you hear me? I'm way up here. I don't know if you can see me through the lights.
I see your hand. Don't drop your hand. Oh, you dropped your hand.
All right.
Okay.
My name is Jay Snedden. I'm the Director of Data Services here at CSI. My question deals with what is your philosophy with information technology, and how do you envision the relationship of information technology with education?
You guys are asking way too easy questions.
I can make it harder.
Let me give you the answer, and if it is not good enough for you, then hit me up again with another one. My last 2 experiences with information technology, one was at Salt Lake Community College, and then here, I'm sorry, not here, where I'm at in Helena. Salt Lake, we were probably breaking down about every other day. The network was absolutely terrible. And so I was given the opportunity as an assistant to the president at the time to go in and restructure that. And so we did. We set aside the funds. We did a complete analysis on the infrastructure, the backbone of IT. And then we went out and hired people we could bring in and then take that from, 85% of quality to a triple nine redundancy without any hiccups. It took us about 5 years to do that. It was almost to the very end before I left. We got that finished. So we invested, I believe it was about $4 million in revitalizing the backbone of the institution. What we wanted to do is this. We wanted to make sure that every time that a faculty or a student or a staff or administrator turned on that computer, that it never went down. They never had a hiccup. They never had a glitch. The only thing it was going to do is freeze, and if it was going to freeze, it was because it's going to be that unit and not because of the backbone. So we got that fixed. And at Helena College, I've spent the last 4 years pumping quite a bit of money and hiring the right people to turn that backbone into triple-digit accuracy also. We've gone to the VoIP system, and I believe that you have that here. I saw one telephone, and it was a Cisco VoIP. Is that correct? You can answer that. Okay, thanks. We did that a couple years ago because the cost of being on the state system was so outrageous that we figured within 3 years we'd pay any investment back on turning the whole system into voice over IP. And so we've gotten that taken care of. We've gotten to the point now where the University of Montana, their IT program, or IT group that runs their backbone at the University of Montana, Missoula, they come over to consult with us because we know more about how to do that than they do. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. Can I follow up?
Sure.
I was aware of the Salt Lake Community College challenges, so I commend you for...
Say that again. I'm sorry, say it again.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Now I can.
I was aware of the Salt Lake Community College challenges, so I commend you for your efforts there.
I'm not catching the very end of what you're saying.
It's okay.
Just scream it out.
My question has to do with... I'll leave the Salt Lake Community College part out.
Okay.
I was familiar with their challenges there. But what about business analytics? Did you have any experience with that? And what's its role with the colleges and so forth?
With business analytics,
Taking numbers and creating storyboards with them, understanding what's happening.
I have not done that. I've not done that either at Salt Lake, or I haven't done that at Helena College.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Over here.
Hi, I'm Judy Gregg Hansen, and I teach English here at CSI. In a recent Times News article, it talked about the 3 past CSI presidents and how each was a president for his time. And my question to you is, what is needed at this time in CSI's history, and how would you be the president for this time?
How would I be the president of this time and knowing what CSI needs and what's for the future? I think the best way to answer that for me, because I don't have the depth of knowledge of having the luxury of being here as an employee for any period of time, is to take a look at what's happening around the country and putting together what I see there and what I know about the community here. And number one, I think what's most important at any institution is networking. And that can be a kind of a dirty business term. And what I'm really talking about is working with the community, is that you are embedded in that community and you understand, and you actually are making decisions before the community asks for it because you know it so well. And I believe that's happening to at least some degree here because of what I've been hearing when I go out and talk to people in the community. CSI rolls off the tongue. But I think one of the biggest futures, things that we need to pay a lot of attention to, is in what we're doing with pedagogy and how it affects the learner. And I think that's extremely important because there's a lot of different ways to deliver content. But not every way that you deliver content is the best thing for students or all students. And I'm not one to say, let's bring in distance education and send everything out now via the radio waves or the digital waves, and that's the silver bullet, because I don't think everybody learns that way. I've been doing some studies in regards to completion rates with students, and I'm appalled at how many students, even in MOOCs, how students are not completing for the number that are engaging in those programs. And so we look at things like blended learning and things like that. So I think knowing who your community is, what their needs are, and then paying close attention to that pedagogical delivery of what we do in the classroom, I don't think we'll ever replace I'm very, very careful when I say this, haven't I? I don't think we'll ever replace the importance of a faculty member's ability to make a difference in someone's life face to face. I'm pretty convinced on that. I don't know if you can move me off that too much. But I do know that the use of the technology that we have can enhance that learning. So I'm assuming you have a learning management system here, and that all faculty are using it to enhance their courses, because that's where the system is going. But that faculty member is primarily most important. And what they do and how they deliver will make a difference in a student's life. And so, just in a nutshell, those are probably two important things that I don't know the robustness of your delivery system here. But if you're anything like most colleges across this country, then those are probably two things that you'll be focusing on, because that's what the country's focusing on. Over here?
Hi, my name is Carla Sanchez, and I'm a current student here at CSI. And I have found that my college experience is more enjoyable when I get to, interact with the faculty as well as the staff. And I was kind of wondering, how comfortable would you be with us students approaching you with ideas or anything like that?
Okay. I would hope that you as a student would feel comfortable approaching me anywhere at any time and asking me a question, or coming into my office, because that's what I do and have been doing for.
I also was wondering if you could share a few ideas of, if you were president, what would you do to promote further student involvement?
Those are great questions. When I started at Helena College, we had no student senate at all. That's taken a while to get off the ground. Now it's flourishing. It's not only flourishing, but sometimes we have to say, wait, before you do something, let's make sure that the name of the college is going to be well represented, okay? Let me put it that way. And our students are very, very engaged. When I say students, I also would connect the community to that, because it's not just a student, it's mom and dad, brother and sister, and bringing them in. And I think one of the things that happens at this college well is you have a great arts program, a sports program that brings that community in. Let me connect that to your previous question, okay? Because that's a question I think is important to make sure that students understand that an administrator or a president is approachable, that is not going to just look at you, say, hi, yeah, uh-huh, and then walk on, and then it's done. The students at Helena College, I know most of them by sight, because I go into classrooms and I actually participate in the lectures. It used to make the faculty pretty nervous, but now they've gotten used to it. So I'll walk in and sit down, and I try to sneak in when they're not seeing me, and then the students get a little chuckle out of that, and I just kind of say, shh, don't alert the faculty member that I'm in here. And it takes a while, but usually that faculty member catches on. But then we have an opportunity to interact, and I get to interact with them. And I can tell you, most of the students, I can tell you at my college, I may not know their name, but I know where they live in town. I know from what town they came from in Montana or outside the state. I know what program they're in, and I know about what time they should be graduating. And believe me, when they're not graduating on time, I've been known to walk over and pinch the ear and pull them into my office and say, what's going on here? Yeah, you're here too long. You're becoming a fixture. You're not a student. You're a fixture now. And so we have those conversations to kind of push them along. But I believe that the president should be completely open and working with students. I like to go to the student senate meetings, and I go to the student senate Christmas party for a while. I'll stay the whole time. It gets a little wild sometimes. But those students at the college do know who I am. And when I walk past them, we say hello all the time. Question over here.
Jet Mirage, English professor. Would you please speak to the significance of community college students developing analytical thinking skills and a body of knowledge in core academic courses in arts, humanities, and the sciences?
I believe that's one of the core missions of a liberal arts education, is to expand the mind so they're not just focusing on one object. We get focused that way in technical education. Sometimes we forget there's a bigger world out there. And our liberal arts education is what expands that. It gives them an opportunity to look beyond that focused area. We have a bit of a problem with that at Helena College because, remember, as I said earlier, the roots for our college was technical education. And then we brought the general education in, which is generally backwards for most colleges, how they've done that. And so when we start asking our students, when they go to complete and get their associate degree, they have to pick up an AAS degree, an English, a math, a science, or something along those lines. And that's the most difficult thing we have in those programs, is to get those students to finish that important piece of their education. So we are embarking on a program that will put that up front, and that has to be completed to a certain level before they can actually move on. And it will be educational or course building. That's how important that is to us, because let me use one example. If you're going to be an automotive technician today and you do not have critical thinking skills, you are not going to be able to make it in the industry. You will never get the job that will eventually give you the income that you want. We need critical thinkers who can analyze. They need to take the data of what they plug into their car, and they need to be able to analyze that so they can then repair your car and move it down the line and get it back to you. That's how important I think the liberal arts education is to a technical person, let alone how important it is to a society. If we do not engage in a broader conversation and help individuals critically think, then we're not going to be able to move our country forward in a direction that we need to do, let alone our community. I think we'll end up going backwards and not forward. Over here.
Thank you for giving this opportunity, Dr. Bingham. My name is Chris Anderson. I work at the museum here on campus. I also teach one class. One of the challenges I see for the community college in general, not just our college, in the years ahead, is that we tend to see an anti-correlation between employment and enrollment. People go back to school when they're out of work, and when they go back to work, they tend not to be in school. Given that our economy is now recovering from the deepest recession since the Great Depression, I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on how we face that challenge.
Well, that's the phenomenon in two-year education, and it has been since it was two-year education kind of came into being in about the early 60s, with the junior college being the forerunner to community colleges. I don't think you're ever going to break that cycle when the economy is... I'd like to take a group of students and say, listen, while you're making money, go to school. If you can crack that nut, please let me know what you've done, because that's just a phenomena of I like to get my truck and not go to school. We have that in our technical programs, and those guys go out and they, after 2 years they start making $50,000, $60,000, if not more. I have a diesel student in his first year make $120,000. That's pretty appealing for a student. And if you're going up into a place like northeast Montana in Dakotas, in the Bakken area, where you can start working at $45 an hour with right out of high school. In fact, they're taking kids not even finishing high school at $45 an hour. That's a big draw right there. So when you got the boom and bust, you're always going to have to deal with the ups and downs. However, I think it's time to step back and say, okay, so where do we go next with our marketing of our institution and our programs? What's our community need? I think we were talking earlier about low-hanging fruit. There's a community growing here in Twin Falls, and that if I were to guess, because it's relatively new to some respect, did I say Great Falls? That's in Montana, I'm sorry. Twin Falls. You got Great Falls, Idaho Falls, Twin Falls. How many other falls are out there? You would think somebody could get that all squared away. Anyway, there are communities out there that you can tap into, and if you do it the right way, you not only bring the student, but you bring the whole family in. And then you create a family of learners. And then you start that ball rolling where those students come in. We were talking about a particular sports program today and thinking, okay, if you had that sports program here, is there a community of learners that would tap into that particular program? Is that a low-hanging fruit? Yeah, it is. You're already doing dual enrollment, so you're reaching out there. But what can we do to then bring mom and dad that direction? Is there some low-hanging fruit there? Working with business and industry to get them to incentivize that student. If you keep hiring these students before they graduate, we've got problems. So can we work with industry to say, let's do some type of apprenticeship program. Let's make sure those students are still getting an education and you still get the worker. Is that a low-hanging fruit? Yeah, it is. So I think you step back and take a look at it and say, okay, during this downturn when we're 8% down, this is what you are, right? Most institutions across the two-year colleges across the West are 8% down this semester. Where do we go and how do we grab that student and pull them in? Where are they at? Are they working in McDonald's or are they working, where are they at? Why are they not coming to school? We started a program at Helena called Access to Success, going after some of that low-hanging fruit. Access to Success is actually a high school program. It doesn't start as a college program. We found in the state of Montana there are over 100,000 students. Oh, it's not mine. Good. He made me turn it off, so now I'm okay. Are you sneaking up on me again?
Sorry. Just letting you know that you have 9 minutes.
I have 9 minutes. Okay. Scary.
Sorry.
No, you're okay. You're all right. We could probably do a duel team here. So we created this program looking at those students who are not engaging in high school completion. Over 100,000 students in Montana. We identified almost 5,000 in our town. And the high school didn't even know where they were. We have 2 high schools. Nobody knew where they were. These are kids who are couch surfing. They're out there, and they know who they are. School district didn't know who they were. And so we thought, how can we tap into them? So we started looking for a program. We found one in Washington State. And I don't remember what they were calling it, but what it was is it was started as a credit recovery program. We said, okay, let's take a look at that. What are they doing? They're going out there, and they don't even market. They just get a group of students that come in. They got that first cohort going. The students start talking and networking, and they brought their own students in. And so we brought that program to Helena College. We put out one brochure, and that was 3 years ago when we started that. We put one brochure out. We've never made another one because we have them knocking on our door now to come to that program. These are students who have not finished their high school diploma and will be on some role someplace and needing some assistance, government assistance. So we brought them in, we identify them. They have to be able to read at a 9th grade level and a few other things. They have to be at least 16 years old, up to 25. And then we have a program that goes 25 to whenever, and we'll still get you a high school diploma. So we brought those students in, started teaching them, and then we did not only high school classes, but we did college classes, and so we do a dual enrollment. And within a period of time, depending on that student, what he needs or she needs, they get a high school diploma and college credit at the same time, all funded through a levy within the community. We have a 74% completion rate. Now, these are kids that are not going to finish high school at all. 74 completion rate, and 43% of those students are going on to college. We have them in the University of Montana, Montana State University. We have them over in Washington State. That's where they're going. So that's a low-hanging fruit. Create a program. Who are your students? Where are they? What's the community need? And then go after it. So I have 5 minutes?
You do, as of right now.
And it's my 5 minutes?
It is yours to do
Okay.
with as you please.
Thank you. Don't often get 5 minutes to myself. I never thought I would be on the stage, and I know why I never thought I would be on the stage. I was hoping that I would not forget my lines when I came here today, and some things I jotted down. I don't think I've said any of them. So let me just kind of share a couple things with you, just about me, so you know who I am. Okay? It's easy to talk about programs, activities, and things like that, but I think you want to know a little bit about the person. Number one, important thing in my life is my family. Bar none. They're the most important thing to me. The second thing is my personal beliefs. And then the third thing is what I do for a living. And I have got the best job in the world. Absolutely. The best job. I don't have a day that I don't go to work and say, this is going to be a good day. Because there's always something good to do. There's always something that you can turn over or make better. And that's who I am. I love looking at something and seeing how I can make it better. And as I looked at this college, and I can tell you that I'm not out looking for a job at all. What I am looking for is a community and a lifestyle. Those two things are vitally important to me. If the job fits into that, then I'm interested in that. I found that here. I'm excited about what you're doing. I saw some things today that just were better than most universities I've been on, and some of the things that you're doing at this college. I saw some things that I would say, ooh, I think I could fix that, make it a little bit better. I enjoy fixing things, making things better. I enjoy thinking way outside the box, not implementing until I know I can, but thinking beyond what's in front of me. I enjoy that. And I think this community would enjoy that too. Because I think this community looks to this college and say, that's our college, and we love what they're doing, and we love it when they grow, when they expand, when they provide us opportunities to participate. And I think I can do a good job with that. So on that, I would say thank you. Thank you for coming. You should all be home having dinner here in a few minutes. But thank you for being here. I appreciate your time and that you're interested in this process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bingham. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Be sure to fill out your cards. I would also like to thank Dr. Al Frost and the search committee for getting us to this point, and Dr. Pam Fisher, our ACCT consultant, who has guided us patiently through the process.